It's so amazing to be here today. Zach, I met you a couple times before in Dubai, and this has been few months, and we have seen so impressive progress with World Liberty Financial and with like all the project we are doing here. Congratulations, actually. And I just want to say we have been went through the amazing journey, and what's the next?
Yeah, first of all, I just got to thank you for the support, Justin. TRON is just an incredible technology, and we're lucky to be partners with you and a bunch of other cool projects like yourself, but you've been a leading force in our space, and we thank you for that.
Totally. And we have paid all the attention recently to World Liberty Financial. The project really got lots of updates, and recently just like hitting $2 billion market cap, which is amazing, and we just want to know a little bit more about the project and how it's gonna go, I think in the future in your mind.
Yeah, I mean, listen, World Liberty was really started when we started to look at the gaps that existed in the traditional financial system. There's really too many to obviously name on stage today, but I'll highlight a couple. The first is a lack of transparency. I think a lot of these big banks, they're very opaque. No one knows what's going on inside of them. They only work for a few people at the top. And frankly, they're ripping off their customers. The second is accessibility. We have 1.4 billion unbanked citizens in this world, which is a pretty stunning number, right? 1.4 billion people without the access to financial tools. And then the third was really an inefficiency in cross-border payments. Myself, as well as my co-founders who are here today, Chase Hero and Zach Folkman, we've been traveling the world and meeting with governments, some of whom are paying up to 9% to get their hands on USD. And that's just unacceptable to us. As for the $2 billion, we are excited to announce today that USD1 has been selected as the official stablecoin to close MGX's $2 billion investment in Binance.
Wow.
We thank MGX and Binance for their trust in us, and I think it's only the beginning.
Yes, totally. Eric, you have once said like the modern financial system isn't modern at all, right? We have seen like long time like this kind of the cancel culture in the traditional financial system. Can you tell us about your experience and your angle on this topic and how we can better like shape the financial system?
So my entire life was in the modern financial system, and as Zach just said, it works really well for maybe the top 1% or the top 0.1%, but it doesn't work for the rest of the world. And it's a system that until my family got into politics, I didn't realize how fragile it was. And the second you start saying something that goes against the system, they'll cancel you, they'll ostracize you, they'll come after you. And it's really amazing. That's actually what caused me to find cryptocurrency, right? I'm a hard asset guy. I've built buildings all over the world. It's what I've done my entire life. And they came after us like animals because of politics. Coincidentally, they were actually going after the crypto community. The exact same people that were coming after us were going after the crypto community. And so, sometimes they say the, enemy of your enemy is your friend. And that's exactly what happened. All of a sudden, two people, came together. That's, kind of the real estate world, people who believed in great assets. And obviously the crypto community, also another great group of people who believed in hard assets. And these assets have become the greatest complement to one another, right? Real estate's illiquid, it's hard to move, it's really only accessible, at least on a large scale to kind of very few. It's very static in terms of location. Then all of a sudden you go to, cryptocurrencies, which is immediately liquid, easy to move, accessible to anyone, and you actually realize that cryptocurrencies become the greatest hedge in the world to kind of hard assets. But what it made me also realize is how absolutely antiquated and broken the modern financial system is. I mean, why is it that it takes, Chase Manhattan, why is it that it takes them 90 days to issue somebody a loan? Somebody wants to go get financing, they want to go buy a home. And this is true of banks all over the world. Why is it that it takes 90 or 120 days to go get a loan from a financial institution that you've spent 25 years banking with, right? They're doing paper forms, know your customers, right? They've got the most beautiful logo. on these buildings all around the world that are looking over the streets, right? And what are they doing? They're pushing paper forms out there, things that could be done on blockchain instantaneously, things that could be done cheaper, faster, more, efficiently, using modern finance. Every single week, I'm chasing a wire transfer. The SWIFT system is broken, and it's going to be replaced by cryptocurrency. But why is it a Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock in the US somewhere, I'm waiting for a SWIFT wire transfer to come in when, right now anybody could move, Bitcoin or USD1 or any other, kind of form of currency across the world in a matter of seconds. Again, cheaper, faster, and more transparently. Guys, our system is broken. Modern finance is absolutely broken. And so when the banks came after our family, I'll never forget it. We became the most canceled people in the world, all because, we're associated with politics in the United States. And honestly, I really do believe that cryptocurrency, and certainly our venture into cryptocurrency, is going to make the big banks regret that. And I believe that the crypto world is going to take over those big banks. I think it's going to leave them in the dust. And I think it's going to change our modern financial system forever.
Justin, they say...
Thank you.
We like to say at World Liberty Financial, pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered.
Yes. World Liberty Financial is definitely, I think, one of the great examples, right? We can use World Liberty Financial to shape the world and really change the financial system. And we're going to leave them in the dust, right? Like, if they didn't join us sooner or later, right?
That's right. They can either, I think they have two choices, right? They can either turn their big container ships around, which, might take them some time, or they can get left behind in the dust like you're talking about. I think time will tell, which choice they make, but hopefully they're on the right side of history.
Definitely. Yeah.
I think it's actually almost hard for them to turn their container ship around because their entire business model, right? They're so antiquated and they're so big, to Zach's point, but their entire business model is to run arbitrage on fees that become redundant in kind of a crypto environment. I mean, try and send money from New York City to Abu Dhabi, right? If you're a U.S. citizen, what bank branch do you find in Abu Dhabi that you can send the money? And then, what's the currency conversion rate between the U.S. dollar, and here? And do you trust the person on the other side? And can you communicate with that person efficiently? And how slow is the SWIFT transfer system going to be? And how many fees are going to be taken by the issuing bank and by the receiving bank and by the currency conversion and whoever processes the technology? And what crypto does, it actually makes that whole process kind of redundant, right? And that's why I kind of really believe that if the banks don't embrace this, if they don't buy into it, if they don't embrace crypto right now, they're just going to be extinct because you're actually eliminating their function. It's almost like old school film in a camera. I mean, in the digital age, you just no longer need it, so it stops being used. And I think that's what's going to happen to a lot of the big financial institutions. They're literally just going to stop being used because the system that they're implementing is slower, more costly, and obviously not innovative. Frankly, it hasn't changed since, the 1970s?
Yes.
Small updates, but
exactly.
I mean, crypto, in terms of the technology, is advancing 100 times as fast as these big banks. They can't keep up with the people in this room. And so there's nothing that would actually bring me more joy to see some of those banks that came after us so viciously and came after so many other people, many of the people in this room so viciously, kind of fall to the very people that they came after.
Oh! Exactly, and also one of the topic I think we, in the crypto world, we really have is transparency, right? Like whatever it happens on the blockchain, like instantly. I recently see the confidence rate for the institution come to really low. Like in United States, you see bank just go bankrupt overnight. Nobody knows what's going on in the bank. In the Hong Kong, you see the trust just move $5 million around, and the customer don't know even what happened. But on blockchain, it will never have this kind of the thing happen again because all the things everything will be transparent on the blockchain.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point, Justin. Not only do we want to create a product in our stablecoin USD1 that can be sent across borders in a very seamless way, but transparency and frankly consumer safety is paramount, right? I don't think that our industry can afford many more of these, scams that you're referring to.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see that USD1 will become the most transparent, the most regulated stablecoin in the world. I think that you guys will be quite pleased with our monthly attestation reports, our monthly audits, et cetera. And I think that's actually something that should be required, right?
Exactly.
And frankly, it's a much better system, right? Our digital dollar is backed 1-to-1 by short-term treasuries and cash equivalents. So you tell me where you'd rather keep your money. Something that's backed 1-to-1 by treasuries and short-term cash equivalents, or something that's fractionally backed by you don't even know what.
Exactly. And Eric, everybody has been very familiar with your family and your business, but they don't know actually you are very committed to financial freedom. So can you talk a little bit about this topic and like how we can use like World Liberty Financial to really realize this value?
In 2019 and 2020, 2021, I started getting letters from some of the biggest banks in the world. These were banks that, we had done business with as a family for, in some cases, 20, 30, 40 years. Your accounts have been canceled, right? And this is in the United States of America. This is, the superpower of the world and, the most advanced economy of the world. And I'm saying this, they're saying, this isn't even possible, right? It was kind of that woke cancel culture movement that spread across so much of the world. Other than frankly the Middle East, they've done a great job keeping that nonsense out of here. I really applaud you for the Middle East and really the UAE has done an unbelievable job keeping that out of there. But you realize how susceptible people are really to kind of one person sitting in these golden towers overlooking these big cities. If they don't like you, they can destroy your life. They can destroy your business. They can destroy your livelihood. They certainly tried to do that with the Trump organization. The good news about us is we had enough zeros behind kind of on our balance sheet, and we had a loud enough voice that they couldn't kind of get away with it. But then you start going around to industrial countries all over the world, developing countries all over the world, and you realize that so many people on this earth have zero financial freedom, right? They don't have the balance sheet. They don't have the zeros. They don't have any leverage whatsoever. If I'm trying to get a loan for a building, I can go out and I can call the CEO of one of these banks and say, listen, you're gonna drop the interest rate by 150 basis points. We're a big account. We'll give you deposits. We'll do this, right? And we can negotiate great terms. Try and be an individual in Zimbabwe where you have 1,000% inflation, every single year. Try and negotiate terms with a lender, right? They can't participate in the modern financial system. It's not even accessible to them. Then take so many of those countries that don't have technology, that don't have the benefit of these big, beautiful screens and laptops and everything else. Their only connectivity to the world really to the digital world becomes the one item that virtually everybody has gotten in their pocket now, whether they buy it outright or they finance it through these elaborate programs, but that's ultimately your cell phone. And so you combine your phone, technology that you have in your pocket, with giving people an even playing field around the world to be able to buy, to be able to invest, to be able to put their money into USD1 backed by 1-to-1 US treasuries, versus trying to put their money into some currency in Zimbabwe or some currency in some nation that's either plagued by wars or famine or corruption or you name it. Right, that gives people financial freedom, the likes of what they've never seen before. I don't think you've had this kind of competitive advantage for everybody in the world, really maybe since the advent of the internet, which for the first time kind of made knowledge as attainable to somebody who's poor as to somebody who's uber wealthy, right? Before they had to rely on libraries going into that, which people didn't otherwise have. All of a sudden, the internet kind of brought an even playing field to the entire globe. What crypto really does is bring an even playing field to the globe. If you don't have access to Jamie Dimon, if you don't have access to the biggest financial institutions, Congratulations, you have your phone, and you can invest in Justin. And that might be investing in Justin for $10 or $100 or $1,000 or $1 million or $100 million. You can buy USD1, and so you're no longer at the mercy of a government that you might not trust or a currency you might not trust. And that's a beautiful thing for humanity, and that's why we're so incredibly proud of USD1 and what we're doing. And let me just say one other thing. The U.S. currency, like it or not, because there's so many international people in this room, it is really revered. It's what people want all around the world. You go to South America, guess what they want? Guess what they trade in? They trade in the U.S. dollar. If you go to so many places in Asia, guess what they want? They want the U.S. dollar. In fact, you have so many countries around the world that will do anything possible to make sure that people can't abandon their own country's currencies because they know that kind of the plight will be to the U.S. dollar because it's safer, it's more stable, it's more accessible, it's more tradable. And so to take that format and digitize it and really bring it around the world and make it incredibly safe, I mean, the explosive growth that we're seeing at WLF is exactly that model. But again, it gives so many people financial freedom that they could have never comprehended before. And that's why this project has the legs. That's why everybody's talking about world liberty. That's why everybody's talking about USD1.
Yes, totally. I think it's really echoes like our value when I first create TRON, create the crypto ecosystem. We are here for the financial freedom. It's not here for the money, right? Because for most of the big banks, they decided to not onboard those customers because they feel like there is no profit to be made on those customers. They are not like thinking we need to bring like 7 billion people on Earth into the crypto ecosystem, into the financial freedom. And for myself, I'm really honored we can collaborate with USD1 on launching this stablecoin to further make this available to 7 billion people on Earth.
Yeah, and I guess you just let it slip, but it's a good time for another announcement that we will be natively integrating USD1 on TRON. We're very excited about that. We should be minting, in the hundreds of millions of dollars to start, and I expect it to reach many billions of market cap very shortly. But we're just incredibly grateful for your support. I touched on it earlier, but it's 1.4 billion unbanked citizens globally. And that's just what they report on, right? I'm sure there's many others in that category that are what we call underbanked. And our goal at World Liberty is really to democratize access to the financial system and really bridge DeFi with traditional finance. I think we'll wake up in a world in 4 or 5 years where the two things will kind of just merge, right? I think that you'll see DeFi and traditional finance just sort of come together in a way that they can't ever really be untwined again.
Exactly. And also, for this question for Zach, I think United States, under the new administration, has doing everything they can to make crypto be very competitive and a great environment for the crypto industry. What do you think they should do more? And of course, with the help of World Liberty Financial to really shape the future for United States here.
Yeah, I mean, Eric touched on it earlier. I think we really need to take a page out of His Highness's and the Emirates book. They are just an amazing example of how you can lead with innovation while also maintaining your family values, your cultural values. It's really just, I mean, everyone here knows, you guys have been here all week. This is just one incredible country. One of the most innovative, if not the most innovative country on planet Earth today. So I think it starts with really taking a page out of the book of those who have done it very successfully, which of course starts with United Arab Emirates. And listen, I think it's a matter of you got to move very fast. You got to make quick decisions, which they're able to do here. But you also have to protect the consumer in a reasonable way that doesn't stifle innovation. And so I think if we can do those things, the sky is the limit. Yeah, I think that's really it.
That's definitely. This question is for Eric. You have been in Dubai for so many times, and I think you have seen these cities grow from like zero to what we have today. And for myself, actually, when I first attend Token 2049, it's not like this scale, right? But today we have seen like so many people come here. It's become like one of the center of the crypto hub. And what's your opinion on that?
Yeah. So I've been very fortunate to be coming to Dubai and Abu Dhabi and the UAE for 20 years. I think my first trip over here was in 2006. So I saw it before the city became this, always looking at real estate. I started working here in 2011, 2012, built an unbelievable golf course, which has become one of the most popular. We just announced Trump International Hotel right on Sheikh Zayed 2 nights ago. It's going to be one of the most beautiful buildings in the city. And I always say that the rest of the world has to be careful of the UAE for one reason. They always arrive at the word yes, which is a beautiful thing, and they do it quickly, right? I mean, I can't tell you guys, I work all over the world. You know, Europe has become a lost cause. It really has, and that hurts my feelings to say, but they are impossible to deal with, and it is impossible to get them to the word yes. If I'm building a great golf course somewhere,
Woo!
We love Ireland. I'm building a great golf course in Ireland. I want to move 1 green. And there was a microscopic snail, I kid you not, they put us through hell for 7 years, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars. I want to move 1 green over. At the end of the day, Ireland said yes, and you know who came in and said no? Brussels, because, guys, the bureaucracy kills countries. And there is no bureaucracy here. If they love an idea, if it's a good idea, if it's a smart idea, they say yes. We got permits for a building that's 1,150 feet tall with the highest swimming pool anywhere in the world. It's going to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. We got permits for that building in 1 month because they love the concept, they love the idea, and they were willing to say yes. And listen, America is 1,000 times better than Europe, but just to the entire Western world. And by the way, my mom's European. It like hurts my feelings to say that, right? Like I don't want a dog on a, but literally they're impossible. And you know, one of the things over here, the country also looks forward, right? It's you know, so oftentimes I'll travel around the world, and you know, 1159 BC, you know, this happened on this very site. It's like, you know, you come over to the UAE, you come over to Abu Dhabi, and the leaders are saying, you know, this is what I want to be in 30 years, not what we were 2,000 years ago. And I think that's really beautiful. And I think it fits in so well with this crypto conversation because all of us are looking ahead. Guys, the rest of the world, they don't know what's coming. They still don't get it. I have a friend who runs a big bank in Connecticut, and like a year ago, he looks at me, he goes, cryptocurrency, that's funny money. It's all funny money. You know, Bitcoin's funny money. Stable coins is funny money. And then a couple weeks ago, he came up to me. It was one of my best friends, Jeff. He came up to me. He goes, hey, you know, how do I invest in cryptocurrency? I really want to get involved in World Liberty Financial. I really want to get involved with Bitcoin. I really want to get involved in the crypto world. And, you know, he was telling me a year ago to invest in treasuries and fixed income. And, you know, and by the way, these are brilliant people. These are people that are... We are in the dial-up phase of the crypto revolution right now, guys. And the people who are going to make it big are the people who are seeing it today, not the people who see it in 5 years when, you know, half the explosive growth has happened, right? Abu Dhabi, Dubai, they're seeing it today. They're seeing what the future is. The United States, because we finally have a good leader, which we didn't have over the last 4 years, but the United States is seeing that the financial world has to progress. I mean, guys, it's a joke. Why do banks run 9 to 5 Monday through Friday with an hour-and-a-half lunch break? Right? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Why is every single big banking building filled with thousands of people who are literally taking out trash, you know, filling refrigerators with bottles of water? Like, why are those people necessary, you know, in a modern world which can work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and do so faster and cheaper for the end consumer, right? And that's what we're realizing in the United States. That's what's being pushed in the United States. That's what's being pushed in the UAE by people who can see that the old financial system is broken and it has to be fixed. You know, go try and fix this problem in France. God bless, everybody loves it, right? But go try and fix this in societies which always have the aversion to the word, no. They don't want to get to the yes, and if they get to the yes, it takes way too long. And I'm telling you, the countries that can move quickly, the countries that are nimble, and the countries that have some foresight are going to win this race. And the Gulf is one of those areas in the world, specifically right here. And America is the other part of the world, and together I really believe we're going to win the crypto revolution.
Definitely, even for myself, I visit Dubai like so many times. With your story, I decided to move here more. Not rather just be in the conference, but like live there, like feel the culture, feel the people. I have my Dubai ID card like last year. Yeah. But actually, it's way faster to get it from DMV in US, like back those days. And also, I'm totally on board. I want to visit the United States in May and to really see the huge difference had happened like 100 days like after the new administration take over, and it's really changed US in a good way.
No doubt about it. Like Eric was saying, the president is just a tremendous leader. And when you have good leadership, good things happen. And that's why this country is what it is. That's why the UAE is one of the most successful countries on the planet right now. They have tremendous, tremendous leadership here. And they have some of the happiest citizens in the world. You walk the streets here and you talk to anyone who lives here, they don't want to leave. You talk to people who have moved here from other places, and they tell me, I can't get my wife to leave and go on vacation. She loves it here so much. And the reason is really leadership, right? And they're leading the way on crypto. They're leading the way on AI. They're leading the way on robotics. And I think USD1 is going to play a very critical part of this new digital world that we're moving into.
Definitely. So to wrap this up, this for Zach first, and then Eric. What do you have other ideas want to share with the audience, and for cryptocurrency and for the financial freedom?
Yeah, listen, I think we have a lot on the way at World Liberty, so stay tuned. We're working on, a lot of different DeFi integrations right now. We do aim to be the, the preferred stablecoin in the DeFi and the CeFi ecosystem. But we're also working really hard, myself, my co-founders, Zach and Chase, that I mentioned before. Eric and his brother, we're working really hard on, getting integrations into traditional retail point of sale systems. I don't think our mission is really going to be complete until you can walk into, the Four Seasons in Abu Dhabi and swipe your debit card using USD1. Or go to your local deli in New York to buy an egg sandwich using your debit card that has USD1 on it. So that's really our goal. I don't think we're too far away. And again, thanks for all the support, Justin. You've been instrumental in our success. So thank you.
Great honor. Great honor.
So Zach almost got punched there because you're not going to be walking into the Four Seasons using USD1. You're going to be walking into Trump International Hotel and Tower.
I said Abu Dhabi, not Dubai.
I can't believe that.
I said Abu Dhabi,
Zach,
not Dubai.
What the hell? Come on. By the way,
it's Dubai, Trump Tower.
We've got the greatest team in the world. This guy has become one of our closest friends. And Zach and Chase, come up here, guys, and Scott. You guys have to come up here. Scott, get up. These guys work so hard every single day, and they are some of the smartest people in the business. And guys, we are so passionate about this mission. I can't even tell you. You can probably hear it in my heart and soul. A lot of it came out of life experiences, right, where this kind of fixes a problem. A lot of it comes out of practicality. A lot of it comes out of just seeing a system that's broken that can be done so much better. And we're going to transform the financial world. We have a team, this team, and a lot of other people who work 24/7. To really modernize this world. And the entire industry has to just embrace two things. The industry has to self-police itself because this industry cannot afford to have scumbags and scam projects in it. It just can't happen. And this industry has to do one other thing. It has to embrace hospitality, right? Kind of what I do on the real estate side every single day, which is it has to make the user experience friendly. The first time that these guys brought me through DeFi, it was an absolute disaster, right? You're trying to link, you're trying to link your wallets to Aave and MetaMask and this and that, and you're trying to fund it with gas fees and all this nonsense, right? And you're trying to loop and swap, and it's not intuitive at all, right? And it wasn't intuitive to a lot of people, and so I think so much of the growth, of what our kind of culture is, what our industry is going to be, is how much hospitality, how user-friendly we can make this world, and the faster we get to that point, the faster we have mass adoption, and the faster we beat the big banking industries who hated all of us, and probably continue to hate all of us. So on behalf of myself, the family, the entire team, thank you to Dubai, thank you to Abu Dhabi, thank you to UAE, thank you to all of you, and thank you for believing in World Liberty Financial. We love you all. Thank you, guys.
Love you guys. Thank you so
Love
much.
you guys. Thank you.